Hi everybody, Sketchy here. Today's work is part 2 to a previous video on this channel entitled Boudicca's Revolt and the Roman Invasion of Britain. If you haven't seen this already, please follow the link in the description to this video which contains important background information to today's feature. Thank you for watching and I hope you enjoy the video. Off the northwestern coast of Wales sits an island known in the Welsh language as Ynys Môn, a land once famed for its wooded groves and sacred Celtic places of worship known as the Metons. The land where once lived old Britannic peoples in small hutted communes now sits charred and blackened, the fertile soils removed of their crops and the thatched dwellings of its druid inhabitants left smouldering amidst the smoky backdrop of burning woodland. Out of the haze of this destroyed community steps forth a Roman general clutching in his hand a note of grave news from the British mainland. From the eastern marshes of the conquered island has emerged a massive revolt of Britons under the command of the violated Iceni queen, Boudica. Her forces having completely decimated the Roman city of Camulodonum and vanquishing its inhabitants marches onwards to Britannia's capital of Londinium. In a haste to abandon the campaign on Mona, the Roman general and governor of Britain, Gaius Suetonius Paulinus, rallies together his troops and rapidly returns to the mainland. With the aforementioned leader fronting Roman legion Augusta II and Boudica leading a 100,000 strong force of Iceni, Catavaloni and other native British tribes, a civilizational clash verges on eruption for the future of Britannia. Rising from the smouldering ruins of Camulodonum are the victorious British tribes, drenched in the blood of fallen Romans, but fists raised towards their warrior queen. The former city, once a splendid showpiece of Mediterranean architecture and ingenuity, now resembles a mass grave of rubble and bone. Roman historian Tacitus, who describes Camulodonum's temple of Claudius as the stronghold of everlasting domination, elaborates further on the destruction of the city. In the attack, everything was broken down and burned. The temple where soldiers had congregated was besieged for 2 days and then sacked. Outside the city walls, a hopeless relief effort fronted by General Quintus Petilius Cerealis fails to save the remaining citizens inside, and his legion Hispania 9 are utterly destroyed by Iceni warriors. Following Cerealis' humiliation and decimation, the victorious Queen Boudica rallies her troops and commences the march on Londinium to strike the heart of the Romano-British capital and obliterate the occupiers from their island. While the indigenous army marches southwards towards Londinium, General Paulinus reaches the outskirts of the capital a few days ahead of Boudicca. Despite being the main centre of commerce in Britannia, Paulinus arrives at the stark reality that his much smaller force of troops will not be able to withstand an onslaught of the massive Iceni army heading their way. Pleas from the local population do little to sway the governor's mind, and Paulinus reroutes his troops northbound to draw Boudicca into a confrontation at a later date. Another quote attributed to Tacitus helps to set the scene of what is about to unfold. Uncertain whether he should choose it, Londinium, as a seat of war, as he looked round on his scanty force of soldiers, and remembered with what a serious warning of rashness of Petilius had been punished. He resolved to sacrifice the single city of London to save the province as a whole, nor did the tears and weeping of the people as they implored his aid deter him from giving the signal of departure and receiving into his army all who would go with him. Within days of Paulinus' abandonment of the city, Boudica and her army arrive at the doomed capital's outer limits, and the civilians who remain due to age or attachment to their home make a weak attempt at fortifying their city. Having crossed the marshy terrain from beyond the city limits, Boudicca strikes at the heart of Roman hegemony in Britain and launches her attack on the local inhabitants. Whilst details and statistics of the sacking itself are scarce, the tales from excavations centuries later reveal a terrifying reality having taken place at the time. A red layer of ash etched into the foundations of Londinium stone reveal the markings of a huge fire wiping the city from the land. The nearby city of Verulamium, modern-day St Albans, is also looted and destroyed in a similar manner to that of Londinium, as too are smaller Roman villas and settlements around the area. Reeling from the string of victories in the southeast of Britain, Boudicca, upon receiving word of Paulinus' movements north, once again embarks on the warpath and plans to take the fight straight to the governor. However, in spite of Boudicca's swift advance and her massively outnumbering army, Paulinus' decision to draw the warrior queen towards a new location comes with an advantageous ploy to rid the occupied lands of her resistance. With the Roman general holding firm at a geographically advantaged position, the future of Britannia remains in the balance, but with a wind of change blowing steadily in the governor's favour. As the warrior queen's army nears ever closer, the pieces to Paulinus' tactical plan will gradually fall into place.